Namaste dear children, I am Rekha. Welcome to my channel Rekha's Knowledge Hub. Today we will see NCERT Classic Science Chapter 7 Temperature and its Measurement Part 1. Wrong measurements are worse than no measurements at all. Annamani. This is absolutely correct. Incorrect measurements can lead to incorrect conclusions and faulty decision making. Can it always be correctly judged that a person has fever only by touching the person? No, it is not always accurate to judge if someone has a fever just by touching them. While it can be a helpful initial indicator, people have different baseline body temperatures. What feels warm to one person might feel normal to another. Lambok and his elder sister Fiban live in Shillong. One day they came home from school. Their parents were away at work and Lambok complained that he was feeling feverish. So Lambok and his elder sister Fiban, they were living in Shillong. One day when they came home from school, Lambok complained that he was feeling feverish. Their parents were away at work. Fiban touched his forehead and felt that he might be having a fever. Then Fiban, she touched his forehead. She felt that he might be having a fever. To confirm this, she took out the thermometer kept in the almara. She washed its tip with soap and water and measured Lambok's temperature. To her relief, she found that his temperature was normal. She washed the thermometer tip again and dried it and put it back. She then asked Lambok to change his school uniform, eat his lunch, and rest for some time. Fiban, she took out the thermometer, washed its tip with soap and water, and she measured Lambok's temperature. But his temperature was normal. Then she again washed the thermometer tip and dried it and put it back. She then asked him to change his school uniform, eat his lunch, and rest for some time. Hot or cold? We know from experience that some bodies are hotter than others. For example, during summers, the tap water may be hotter than the cold water from a matka. Matka means earthen pot or a refrigerator. We can realize this by merely touching the two samples of water. But can we always rely upon our sense of touch? Let us find out. Some bodies are hotter than others and we can realize this by merely touching the samples. For example, during summers, the tap water may be hotter than the cold water from a matka. Matka means earthen pot or a refrigerator. We can realize this by touching the two samples. But can we always rely upon our sense of touch? Let us find out. There is an activity. Let us investigate. Take 3 large containers and label them A, B and C. So, take 3 large containers. Then label them as A, B and C. Pour warm water in container A, tap water in B and ice cold water in C. So, in container A, you pour some warm water. In container B, tap water. And in container C, pour some ice cold water. We will conduct this activity in 2 parts, prediction and observation. First, we have to predict the result and then we have to observe it. Firstly, predict. What will you feel if you dip your right hand in A and left hand in C and keep them there for 1 to 2 minutes? So dip your right hand in A. A contains warm water. Then left hand in C. C contains ice cold water. And keep them there for 1 to 2 minutes. Take out your hands from containers A and C and place both hands simultaneously in B. So, after taking out your hands from the containers A and B, place both hands simultaneously in B. B contains tap water. See this figure. The first figure, right hand is dipped in container A and left hand is dipped in container C. In figure 2, both hands are dipped in container B. B contains tap water. Write down your predictions. What will my right hand feel on dipping in B? Right hand was dipped in warm water in container A. So, while dipping in B, right hand feels that the water is cool. What will my left hand feel on dipping in B? Left hand was dipped in ice cold water in container C. So, while dipping in B, left hand feels that the water is warm. Now, conduct the activity and write your observations. What is your observation? We cannot always rely upon our sense of touch for judging temperature. Here, see, both hands felt the same water differently after exposing to different temperature. Compare whether your observations match with your predictions. Did your right hand feel that the water in container B is cool, while your left hand felt that the same water is warm? What do you infer from these observations? We cannot always rely upon our sense of touch to decide correctly whether a body is hot or cold. This is important. Our sense of touch cannot be reliable for determining the exact temperature of an object. Our perception of temperature, it can be influenced by various factors including our body temperature, recent exposure to heat or cold, etc. Then, how do we find out how hot or cold a body is? That we will see. Next one is temperature, a reliable measure of hotness or coldness of a body is its temperature. A hotter body has a higher temperature than a colder body. The difference in temperature between the two bodies tells us how hot a body is in comparison to another body. A device that measures temperature is called a thermometer. So, a reliable measure of hotness or coldness of a body is its temperature. So, temperature is how hot or cold something is. Imagine you are touching a hot stove. It feels hot, right? That's because it has a high temperature. Now think of ice cream. It feels cold, meaning it has a low temperature. So, a hotter body has a higher temperature than a colder body. The difference in temperature between the two bodies tells us how hot a body is in comparison to another body. We use a special tool called a thermometer to measure temperature. There are two kinds of thermometers that you are likely to come across: clinical thermometers and laboratory thermometers. So, mainly two types of thermometers: clinical thermometers and laboratory thermometers. Clinical thermometers are used to measure human body temperature. So, what is the use of clinical thermometers? They are used to measure human body temperatures, whereas laboratory thermometers are used for many other purposes. Imagine you are a scientist and you want to know how hot or cold something is. You can't just guess, right? That's where a laboratory thermometer comes in. Laboratory thermometers There are special tools that help us measure temperature accurately. Let us now learn more about thermometers and how to use them to measure temperature. So, measuring temperature. First, we will see clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometers are used to measure human body temperatures. You might be familiar with a thermometer like that shown in figure 7.2. See this figure, a digital clinical thermometer which is used for measuring our body temperature. It is called a clinical thermometer. So, this clinical thermometer is used for measuring our body temperature. Such thermometers show temperatures digitally. These are also known as digital clinical thermometers and run on batteries. So, clinical thermometers are special tools used to measure a person's body temperature. So, when you are feeling unwell, a doctor or nurse might use a clinical thermometer to check your temperature. Digital thermometers are the most common type. They are very easy to use and give a quick reading. These digital thermometers, they run on batteries. These measure temperature when the thermometer is placed in contact with a person's body. For measuring temperature, the clinical thermometers generally use a scale called the Celsius scale. On this scale, the unit of temperature is degree Celsius and is denoted by degree C. So, for measuring temperature, clinical thermometers use a scale called a Celsius scale. On this scale, what is the unit of temperature? It is degree Celsius. It is denoted by degree C, capital C. Earlier, mercury thermometers were used for measuring the body temperature, but mercury is an extremely toxic substance and is difficult to dispose of if the thermometer breaks accidentally. Mercury thermometers were once commonly used to measure temperature. However, due to the toxicity of mercury, the use of mercury thermometer has been phased out in many countries. Mercury is a harmful substance, and if a thermometer breaks, it can release harmful mercury vapor into the environment. Digital thermometers pose no such risk, and also the numbers in its display are easier to read. Therefore, mercury thermometers are being replaced by digital thermometers. Digital thermometers are widely used as a safer and more convenient alternative to mercury thermometers. Also, the numbers in its display are very easy to read. Therefore, mercury thermometers are being replaced by digital thermometers. Temperature in a digital thermometer is determined with the help of heat sensors. So, with the help of heat sensors, the temperature in a digital thermometer is determined. During the COVID-19 pandemic, some special thermometers were used which could measure the temperature of a person from a distance. What were those? So, during the COVID-19 pandemic, some special thermometers were used. They can measure the temperature of a person from a distance. They are called non-contact thermometers, also called infrared thermometers. Such thermometers can measure temperature without touching a person's body and thus reduce the risk of spreading disease. So, non-contact thermometers are a type of thermometer that measures temperature without physically touching the person. They work by detecting infrared radiation emitted by the object. So they are also called infrared thermometers. They reduce the risk of spreading diseases. First, we will see the precautions to be taken while using a digital clinical thermometer. To be used after reading the instruction manual of the thermometer. You will get an instruction manual while buying your digital clinical thermometer. Tip of the thermometer to be washed with soap and water before and after use. So before and after each use, you have to wash the tip of the thermometer with soap and water. While washing, care to be taken to keep the digital portion such as the display out of water. You have to take care of the display unit. Do not hold the thermometer by the tip. Now we will do the activity. Let us measure. Let us now use a digital clinical thermometer to measure body temperature. You may measure your own temperature as well as the temperature of some of your friends. Talk to your friends to find out who would be willing to get their body temperatures measured by you. So, the activity is to measure your body temperature using a digital clinical thermometer. So, wash your hands and the tip of the digital thermometer with the soap and water. So, before measuring the body temperature, you have to wash your hands and also the tip of the digital thermometer with soap and water. Reset the thermometer by pressing the reset button. So, you have to reset the thermometer. For that, you have to press the reset button. Place the thermometer under the tongue and close your mouth. Wait till the thermometer makes a beeping sound or flashes a light. So you have to wait till the thermometer makes a beeping sound or it flashes a light. Take it out from the mouth and read the temperature on the digital display. You can read the temperature from the digital display. Record the temperature in table 7.1. Clean the tip of the thermometer with soap and water and dry it. Repeat the above steps for measuring the temperatures of your friends. For example, see this table. Arun, he has temperature 36.8, Nita 37, Manju 36.9, Kaveri 37.2, Ram 37.3, Shankar 37.1. The normal temperature of a healthy human body is taken to be 37.0 degrees Celsius. But in this activity, did you find that the normal temperature of every person was 37.0 degrees Celsius? Or did you find the temperature slightly higher or lower for some people? So, the normal temperature of a healthy human body is taken to be 37.0 degrees Celsius. The normal body temperature can vary slightly from person to person and throughout the day. While 37 degrees Celsius is often considered the average normal body temperature, it is not a strict standard. It depends on time of day, age, activity level, environmental factors, etc. Do small children generally have slightly higher body temperature as compared to adults? Yes, it is generally true that young children can have slightly higher body temperature than adults. This is because their bodies are still developing and their temperature regulation systems are not as efficient as those of adults. Do old people, even when healthy, generally have lower body temperatures than young adults? Yes, generally older adults tend to have slightly lower body temperatures compared to younger adults. This is due to various factors including decreased metabolic rate, reduced muscle mass, hormonal changes, etc. The temperature of every person may not be 37.0 degrees Celsius. What we call normal temperature is the average body temperature of a large number of healthy people. So, What is normal temperature? Normal temperature is the average body temperature of a large number of healthy people. A perfectly healthy person may therefore have a normal temperature slightly different from 37.0 degrees Celsius. The body temperature is influenced by several factors such as age, time of the day, and activity level. So, the body temperature, it depends on so many factors like age, time of the day, activity level, etc. You may try measuring your own temperature at different times of the day and on different days. Record the thermometer readings in your notebook. After a month, analyze your temperature record and see if there are any variations. If yes, try to think what might be the reason for that. The temperature of human beings does not normally go below 35 degrees Celsius or above 42 degrees Celsius. So, normally our temperature will not go below 35 degrees Celsius or above 42 degrees Celsius. For measuring the body temperature of small children or old people, the digital thermometer can also be placed in armpit. Instead of placing under tongue, we can place it in the armpit. The temperature measured this way is about 0.5 degrees Celsius to 1 degree Celsius lower than the actual body temperature. So, if you are placing the digital thermometer in the armpit, the temperature measured will be 0.5 degrees Celsius to 1 degree Celsius lower than the actual body temperature. I have seen a friend of mine using a digital thermometer that reads the temperature on a different scale. It shows the normal temperature of a healthy human body as 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. What is the reason for this difference? So there is another scale of temperature known as Fahrenheit. So, in this scale, normal human body temperature is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. So, there is another scale of temperature known as Fahrenheit scale. On this scale, the unit of temperature is degree Fahrenheit and is denoted by degree capital F. So, this is another scale of temperature, Fahrenheit scale. Its unit is degree Fahrenheit, denoted by degree capital F. A temperature measured as 37.0 degrees Celsius on Celsius scale is equivalent to 98.6 degree Fahrenheit on Fahrenheit scale. So, 37.0 degrees Celsius on Celsius scale. This is equivalent to 98.6 degree Fahrenheit on Fahrenheit scale. The Fahrenheit scale is not used in most scientific studies anymore. In scientific work, there is another scale of temperature known as Kelvin scale. So, there is another scale of temperature which is used in scientific works. This is called Kelvin scale. On this scale, the unit for temperature is Kelvin and is denoted by K. SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. So, Kelvin scale, its unit is Kelvin. Unit of temperature is Kelvin and is denoted by capital K. The SI unit of temperature is Kelvin. All three temperature scales, Celsius, Fahrenheit and Kelvin, are named in honor of the scientist who developed these scales. Anders Celsius developed the Celsius temperature scale. Then Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit, he developed the Fahrenheit temperature scale. Then William Thomson, first Baron Kelvin, introduced the Kelvin scale. We can easily convert the temperature from Celsius scale to Kelvin scale by using temperature in Kelvin scale is equal to temperature in Celsius scale plus 273.15. So, how to convert temperature in Celsius scale to temperature in Kelvin scale? Temperature in Kelvin scale is equal to temperature in Celsius scale plus 273.15. You have to add 273.15 to the temperature in Celsius scale. The names of temperature scales, Celsius scale, Fahrenheit scale and Kelvin scale, start with a capital letter. So, the names must start with a capital letter. For the units of temperature, degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit, the word degree starts with a lowercase letter, while Celsius and Fahrenheit start with a capital letter. So, in the case of degree Celsius and degree Fahrenheit, the degree starts with a lowercase letter. Celsius and Fahrenheit starts with a capital letter. The unit Kelvin starts with a lowercase letter. The symbols of all units, degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit, Kelvin, K, are capital letters. Note that degree sign is not written with K. So, with K there is no degree sign. A full stop is not written after the symbol except at the end of a sentence. While writing the temperature, a space is left between the number and the unit. For temperatures more than 1 degree, use the plural of degree, that is degrees, while writing the full form of the unit. Can a clinical thermometer be used for measuring the temperature of boiling water or for measuring the temperature of ice? Can we use a clinical thermometer to measure the temperature of boiling water or to measure the temperature of ice? No, the temperatures of boiling water and ice are outside the range of a clinical thermometer. We cannot measure the temperatures of boiling water and ice using clinical thermometer. They are outside the range of a clinical thermometer. How was fever detected before thermometer was developed? Fever affects the pulse rate of a person. This was known even in olden days in India. However, apart from fever, some other situations also affect the pulse rate. Hence, pulse rate alone is not a reliable indicator of fever. How can we measure the temperature beyond the range of a clinical thermometer? We will see. Children, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. We will see in the next video. The playlist of all the subjects are included in the description box. Please go through it. Thank you.